God says you have been carrying an image of someone in your heart, an image shaped by hope, by longing, by the way you wish things could be. You saw his potential, his softness, his promises, his words that once felt like safety. You held on to the version of him you believed existed, because that version comforted you, calmed you, gave you something to hold on to in seasons when everything else felt uncertain. But God is whispering to you now that the version you saw is not the truth. And the moment you finally accept that, something powerful is going to break open inside you. You have felt it for a long time, those quiet moments when something in your spirit tugged at you, something you couldn't explain. His words didn't match his actions. His promises didn't match his patterns. His affection didn't match his motives. Yet a part of you kept defending him, excusing him, hoping for him, praying for him. You kept saying, maybe he's just confused. Maybe he's just scared. Maybe he's trying. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I shouldn't expect too much. But deep down, you knew. You knew the hesitation wasn't love. You knew the inconsistency wasn't care. You knew the confusion wasn't truth. God has been trying to show you for months, maybe even years, that the person you thought he was is not the man he is choosing to be, and now the time for God's gentle warnings is over. The season of subtle signs is ending. God is stepping in with clarity so sharp, so undeniable, that you will never again doubt what he is revealing. He's not who you think. He's not who he pretended to be when he needed your attention, your emotional support, your softness, your presence. He's not the man he portrayed on the days when he felt lonely or empty. He's not the man he claimed to be when he wanted comfort or validation. God is about to peel back the layers, the charm, the excuses, the timing, the emotional confusion, the stories he told, the versions he performed, because the truth is this: God is protecting you from a future you didn't see coming. From heartbreak you don't deserve. From cycles that would drain you. From a path that would waste years of your purpose, your compassion, your strength, and your spiritual growth. You might think you're losing something, but God says you're actually being rescued. There were moments when you felt like you were the one who cared too much, the one who gave too much, the one who stayed too long. You wondered if maybe loving deeply was a mistake. But God says no, your love was never the problem. Your love was the test. And you passed the test. He failed it. The way he treated you was not a reflection of your worth, it was a reflection of his wounds, his immaturity, his hidden intentions, and his divided heart. You were loyal to someone who was never consistent. You were truthful with someone who hid behind half-truths. You were steady with someone who moved like the wind, warm one day, cold the next, present one moment, distant the next. This inconsistency wasn't random. It was revealing exactly who he truly is. But now, God is stepping into your story with something powerful: revelation. And revelation is always the final step before release. You have prayed for clarity. You have cried out for truth. You have begged God to show you whether you should hold on or let go. And God heard you every time. He watched you give chances, even when your spirit was tired. He watched you forgive things that should never have been repeated. He watched you pour into someone who poured only enough to keep you hopeful, but never enough to match your heart, and God says, "Now I will open your eyes." This is the moment when illusions fall, when masks slip, when secrets surface, when real intentions show, when the spiritual fog clears, when your heart finally sees what your spirit already sensed. He is not who your heart imagined. He is not the man you tried to build in your head. He is not the partner you wished you had. He is not the person his sweet moments made him appear to be. Those moments weren't his character, they were his convenience, and God is about to show you exactly why things felt so heavy, so confusing, so draining. God is going to reveal the reasons behind his distance, his inconsistencies, his mixed signals, his emotional silence, his sudden shifts, his coldness, his excuses, his indecision. Nothing will remain hidden. Everything is about to be exposed, gently, but unmistakably. You will look back soon and say, "How did I not see this before?" But don't blame yourself. God kept your heart soft because He was building your strength. God allowed the delay because He was preparing your discernment. God let you feel the ache because He wanted you to learn to hear His voice over your emotions, and now that you're ready, He will show you everything. But here is the part you don't see yet, the moment God reveals the truth about who He really is. He will also expose something even more important, who you truly are. Because the person you were when you met Him is not the person you are today. You used to accept less because you knew less. You used to tolerate confusion because you feared loss. You used to settle for emotional crumbs because you didn't yet understand your spiritual worth. But God has been elevating you quietly, shaping your heart, sharpening your spirit, strengthening your boundaries, growing your awareness. And now you are stepping into a version of yourself that cannot stay attached to the same people, the same patterns, the same emotional cycles. The truth is, God can no longer allow your future to be held hostage by someone who can't even be honest with you now. This revelation is not punishment, it is protection. It is redirection. It is alignment. It is spiritual recovery. You gave Him room to show His best. But He revealed His truth, and now God will give you revelation so you can walk away without looking back. Because the moment your eyes open fully, your heart will finally understand why God kept whispering, why the red flags kept appearing, why your spirit felt uneasy, why you kept sensing something wasn't matching. This is not the end. This is the freeing, and when the truth hits you, not emotionally, but spiritually, you will feel something break loose inside you. A weight you've carried for far too long will disappear. Your mind will clear. Your chest will exhale. Your heart will settle. Your spirit will stand taller. You will no longer ask, "Why wasn't I enough?" Because you will finally see that the question was never about you. It was always about Him. His choices, His fears, His patterns, His wounds, His hidden intentions. God is not removing Him from your heart, He is removing the illusion. You are about to see clearly. You are about to feel lighter. You are about to walk differently. Because the truth is coming, and once you see it, you will never unsee it. There is a moment in every story when God stops letting you guess, stops letting you wonder, stops letting you chase clarity through someone who refuses to give you the truth. That moment is now. The veil that once protected your heart is now being lifted, not to harm you but to free you. Because God knows what happens when you finally see someone for who they truly are, you stop negotiating with their potential and start listening to His direction. You've spent so long trying to understand Him. You tried to understand His silence, His sudden changes, His delays, His way of pulling close and then stepping back as if He feared the very thing He kept asking for. You tried to understand the warmth that felt real one day and the coldness that cut you the next. You kept thinking, if I just love him a little more, maybe he'll stop running from what he feels. Maybe he'll treat me with the consistency I've earned. Maybe he'll finally be the man he says he wants to be. But God says, you were never meant to fix what he refuses to confront in himself. You gave him more grace than he knew what to do with. You held space for him when he had no space for you. You tried to understand his heart when he didn't even try to understand yours. And God watched all of it, not because he wanted you to suffer, but because he wanted to show you the difference between your love and his patterns. You love with depth. He loves with convenience. You give with sincerity. He gives with condition. You show up with intention. He shows up with need, and every time you felt that heaviness in your chest, every time your spirit whispered, something doesn't feel right, every time the confusion returned, God was signaling to you that the man you thought you knew is not the man standing in front of you. But here is the deeper truth. God is not just showing you who he really is, God is showing you why he had to be removed from the path you are walking into. Your future requires emotional clarity. Your purpose requires stable connections. Your spirit requires truth. And God refuses to let someone with hidden motives or unresolved wounds sabotage the destiny he is preparing for you. This is why every time you tried to move closer, something felt off. This is why every time you thought the relationship was finally becoming stable, something shifted again. This is why you kept feeling like you were building a connection on ground that kept shaking beneath you. God wasn't trying to frustrate you, he was trying to protect you from tying your future to someone whose spirit is not aligned with yours. You may not realize this yet, but God is not exposing him to embarrass him. God is exposing him to release you. Those unanswered messages were a sign. Those mixed signals were a sign. Those sudden disappearances, the apologies followed by the same behavior, the words that sounded right but never materialized into real action, every one of them was a sign. A sign that God kept placing in front of you because He knew your heart was too loyal for its own good. You give the kind of love that believes, hopes, forgives, and endures. But God is teaching you something now. Love is not meant to blind you, love is meant to guide you. And God will never allow your love to become your prison. You wanted honesty. God wanted to give you truth. But the truth couldn't come from Him, it had to come from God Himself. And the truth is this: He is not who He pretended to be when He needed you. He is not who He played when He felt insecure. He is not who He acted like when He wanted your comfort. God is showing you the patterns behind His personality, the intentions behind His affection, the truth behind His hesitation. You will soon see the real reason He never chose you fully. The real reason He kept you close enough to use your heart but not close enough to honor it. The real reason He shut down emotionally. The real reason He kept you waiting. The real reason He avoided deep conversations. The real reason He gave you half versions of Himself while expecting full devotion from you. God is about to reveal all of it, not to hurt you, but to heal you, because healing requires truth. And truth requires clarity. And clarity requires God stepping into the places where your love tried to do all the work. But here is something your heart has never fully understood: your intuition wasn't wrong. Your spirit wasn't overreacting. The uneasiness you felt wasn't anxiety, it was discernment. Every time something in you whispered, "He's not being real," that wasn't insecurity. That was God trying to protect you from forming a future with someone who couldn't even be honest in the present. You thought you were imagining things. You thought you were being too sensitive. You thought you were expecting too much. But God says, no, you were seeing the truth before you had the strength to accept it. And now that strength is here. But with that strength comes something even greater: the ability to walk away from what doesn't honor you without feeling guilty, confused, or broken. You are stepping into a place where emotional breadcrumbs no longer satisfy you, where half-love no longer impresses you, where inconsistent affection no longer confuses you, where empty promises can no longer hold you. This is why God is opening your eyes. Because the version of you that He is raising up cannot remain tied to someone who lives in shadows, and there is something else. The moment the truth comes, the spiritual attachment you feel will break. Not slowly. Not painfully. Suddenly. Completely. Because God is not just revealing Him, He is releasing you. The grip He had on your emotions, the hold He had on your imagination, the weight He had on your heart. All of it is going to dissolve the moment God exposes what was hidden. You are going to see something in Him that you couldn't see before. Not something dramatic or shocking, but something unmistakably clear. And once you see it, you will no longer desire what you once prayed for. You will no longer romanticize what you once hoped for. You will no longer idealize what you once protected. This clarity will be your freedom, and after God opens your eyes, something even more powerful will happen. You will begin to remember who you are. You will begin to remember your worth. You will begin to remember the standard God placed on your heart long before this man entered your life. You will begin to remember that you were chosen for a love that does not confuse you. A love that does not drain you, a love that does not play with you, a love that does not shrink your spirit. You were created for a love that looks like God's heart, not his habits. And once you understand that, the attachment you had to him will break like a thin thread that was never meant to tie you in the first place. God is preparing you for something real. Something steady. Something genuine. Something aligned. Something divine. And this revelation is the final step before that blessing arrives. There is a shift already happening inside you, even if you haven't fully recognized it yet. A quiet awakening. A subtle strength. A new awareness rising in the places where confusion once lived. This is how God works. He doesn't just open your eyes, he prepares your heart to handle what your eyes are about to see. And the more God reveals, the more you will begin to understand why you felt spiritually unsettled for so long. You didn't imagine the distance. You didn't exaggerate the mixed signals. You didn't misunderstand the inconsistency. You didn't misread the energy shifts. Your heart was not overreacting. Your spirit was detecting what your emotions were trying to ignore. You were sensing the gap between who he pretended to be and who he truly is. And that gap is where God is stepping in right now, because God will never allow deception to remain comfortable. Not when your destiny depends on truth. Not when your purpose requires clarity. Not when your heart deserves honesty. So God is removing the illusion piece by piece, layer by layer, moment by moment, until the truth becomes so obvious that even your compassion can't cover it anymore. You will soon see the difference between the version of him you loved and the reality of the man standing in front of you. You will see the way he takes without giving, the way he receives without reciprocating, the way he holds your attention but not your heart. The way he enjoys your presence but avoids your depth. The way he values the comfort you bring but not the commitment you deserve. And once God exposes this fully, you will no longer fight yourself to make sense of his actions. You will no longer try to interpret his silence or justify his behavior. The confusion that once kept you emotionally tied to him will break, and you will feel your spirit breathe again. Because clarity is oxygen, and you have been spiritually suffocating under the weight of questions you never deserved to carry. But here's what you don't realize yet. God is not just exposing him for what he has done, God is exposing what he is incapable of doing. He is incapable of loving you at the level you love. He is incapable of giving you the stability your heart requires. He is incapable of meeting you where you've already grown. He is incapable of maintaining the connection he starts. He is incapable of being consistent with something real. He is incapable of stepping into the kind of future you're walking toward. and none of this is your fault. It was never that you weren't enough, it was that he was never ready for the kind of woman God is shaping you into. God didn't bring him into your life to be your forever, he brought him to be your lesson. A mirror. A moment. A revelation. A divine turning point, because God is preparing you for a relationship that is aligned with who you are becoming, not who you were when you met him. And the person you are becoming cannot stay entangled with someone who only gives you fragments of affection but expects full devotion in return. You deserve more than fragments. God is about to make sure you know that. There were times when you tried to pull back, but something always pulled you in again. That something wasn't love, it was spiritual interference. It was emotional habit. It was the imaginary potential you kept projecting onto him. You weren't attached to who he was. You were attached to who you hoped he could be. But God is removing the fantasy so you can finally see the reality, because the truth is, someone who is meant for you will never keep you guessing. Someone who is spiritually aligned with you will never make you question your worth. Someone who is assigned to your heart by God will never treat you as an option. Someone who carries your future in their spirit will never hesitate to choose you. You were not wrong to care. You were not wrong to love. You were not wrong to hope. Your heart was not naive, it was open. But now God is shifting you into a new season, one where your openness will no longer be wasted on someone who is emotionally inconsistent, and once this shift completes, you will no longer feel tied to him. The emotional pull will fade. The longing will dissolve. The attachment will loosen. And the questions that once haunted you, why did he do this? Why didn't he treat me better? Why wasn't he honest? Will no longer matter, because when God reveals the truth of a person, he also takes away the sting of their absence. You will not miss what God exposes. You will not chase what God removes. You will not desire what God reveals as harmful. You will not mourn someone you finally see clearly. This is the beauty of divine revelation. It heals you while it frees you, and soon, you will begin to notice something unusual happening inside you. The things that once hurt you will stop hurting. The things that once confused you will make sense. The things that once kept you emotionally stuck will lose their power. The connection you once thought was unbreakable will start to feel shallow, fragile, insignificant, because God will shift your heart from longing to clarity. The moment you see who he truly is, your spirit will detach. Not slowly. Not painfully. Instantly. Because your heart cannot stay connected to someone once God has exposed their intentions, and the incredible part? You won't even be angry. You won't be bitter. You won't feel revengeful. You will simply feel done. Not hurt, done. Not heartbroken, done. Not waiting, done. Because spiritual revelation doesn't create rage, it creates release. Your heart will whisper, "Thank you, God. I understand now. And once your spirit reaches that place, you will be unstoppable. You will stop asking why He didn't choose you and start thanking God that He didn't. You will stop wondering what you did wrong and start realizing what God did right. You will stop seeing Him as a missed opportunity and start seeing Him as divine protection. He was never meant to be your forever. He was meant to be your turning point, and that turning point is happening right now. There comes a moment when God closes a chapter so firmly that even your memories begin to lose their grip. That moment is closer than you think. You're stepping into a season where the same things that once broke you will no longer have power over you. The same words that once triggered you will no longer shake you. The same patterns that once trapped you will no longer touch you. This is what happens when God completes a revelation. He doesn't just open your eyes, He transforms your spirit. God is about to show you the final piece of truth you need to walk away without guilt, without confusion, without emotional residue. He is about to reveal the reason He let this connection linger. The reason He allowed certain things to happen, the reason He didn't remove the situation sooner. Because every moment, even the painful ones, was shaping you, elevating you, strengthening your discernment, refining your heart. You see, there was a version of you that would have accepted half-love as if it were everything. There was a version of you that would have chased clarity from someone who never intended to give it. There was a version of you that would have compromised your worth just to keep someone who didn't deserve to stay. But that version of you no longer exists. You have grown in ways you haven't even acknowledged yet. You have healed from wounds you didn't know were still open. You have developed a spiritual intuition that now recognizes patterns before emotions get involved. You have awakened to a self-worth that no longer negotiates with inconsistency. This is why God is closing this chapter, because you are ready, ready for real love, ready for real commitment, ready for real alignment, ready for a real partner who matches your heart, your effort, your sincerity, your growth, not someone who runs when things get real, not someone who hides behind excuses. Not someone who depends on your strength but avoids their own healing, not someone who loves the idea of you more than the responsibility of having you. You are being prepared for someone who will love you with intention, not confusion. Someone who will pursue you with clarity, not hesitation. Someone who will value you with consistency, not convenience. Someone who will show up with the kind of emotional presence you have always given, but never received back, and God needed to remove the wrong one so He could make room for the right one. But before God sends that blessing, He must complete this final separation. And this final separation will not come through pain, it will come through revelation. Because the moment God shows you the truth of a person, the desire for them fades. The grip they once had collapses. The emotional tie unravels. The spiritual fog clears. You will see that the heartbreak you feared was actually your breakthrough. The delay you hated was actually your protection. The confusion you carried was actually your awakening. And the man you thought you wanted was actually blocking the love God has been preparing for you. He was a lesson. But you are the one God is elevating. You are stepping into a season where your heart will no longer settle for crumbs. You are stepping into a season where your spirit will be too aligned to entertain inconsistency. You are stepping into a season where your worth will speak so loudly that anything less than genuine love will lose access to you. And when God finally reveals the full truth, you won't cry the way you used to. You won't ache the way you once did. You won't wait for closure from Him because God Himself will close it. You won't ask for an explanation because the revelation will answer everything. You won't wish for His return because you will finally understand why He could never stay. You will look at the situation and say, I see now. I'm free now. And the moment you say that, truly say it, from your spirit, He will no longer be tied to your destiny in any way. This is the moment your story shifts. This is the moment God turns the page. This is the moment your future becomes brighter than your past. This is the moment your spirit rises to another level. And when the right one comes, the man God has prepared for you long before you even knew what love truly meant, you will understand why this heartbreak had to happen. Why this lesson had to unfold, why this revelation was necessary. You will look into the eyes of a man who loves you with purity, certainty, commitment, and depth and say, now I understand why God didn't let me settle. Because the truth God is revealing today is not meant to break you, it is meant to position you, it is meant to elevate you, it is meant to free you. It is meant to prepare you for someone who sees you the way God always has, not as an option, not as a convenience, but as a blessing. And when the real love arrives, you will not question it, you will not fear it, you will not compare it, you will not doubt it. Because God is not just opening your eyes to Him. God is opening your eyes to you. Your strength, your worth, your calling, your future, your divine alignment. This is your turning point. This is your release. This is your awakening.